Welcome to another episode of Paddle Talk. On this episode, we will recap the race that Damian helped put on in Florence, Kentucky, the Full Throttle Monster Truck Show. Then we will recap the Silverback Offroad Speedway race that they just had, where they kind of called off the points due to some rain out stuff. And then Jon Sorg still went on a tear. We'll recap the Homochitto race where they had a new track record set, and we will preview Thunder Valley Sanddrag season opener. We will also preview the Mud Racers Association race, the MRA, and the Cook Station, Missouri Upper Merrimack Dirt Drags. We'll get more in-depth preview of the MRA race. Dave series, the Southern Powersports Drag Racing Series race at Silverback Speedway, Offroad Speedway. We'll get into that a little bit more. And then we will also talk about the PSDA race, Pro Sanddrag Association race at Sheltons Dirt Drags coming up next weekend. And then our news and take segment, we will talk about the possible records that are flawed at Greens Raceway in Michigan. And then we will also get into the 100-inch swing arm that Patrick Hunt has built for his upcoming no-bar bike that's going to be insanely fast. So full show today. Today's panel, we have Jon Sorg, Isaac DeHaan, Damian Bowers, Dave Applegate, Ricky Thorpe, Caleb Mings, and myself. Don't forget, this episode is brought to you by Racing in the Dirt.
Hey everybody, this week's episode brought to you by Racing in the Dirt. Located in Cleveland, Wisconsin, Racing in the Dirt has been in the off-road parts, equipment, and chassis business for over 30 years now. From full chassis builds, currently at 50 and counting, to wheel adapters, brake kits and components, hub kits and components, steering parts and knuckles, suspension parts, air filters, complete chain drives and parts, also real wheels and even cut tires. Scott Shane and company can get you hooked up with everything your dirt drag, sand, or mud ride needs. New from Racing in the Dirt for 2024, UTV offerings. From full cages to protected bars, with more parts to come, they're stepping into the UTV market with some new stuff. So find them on the web, racinginthedirt.com, or connect with them on Facebook, or give them a call. Area code 920-693-2000. That's area code 920-693-2000. And the UPS Daily, racinginthedirt.com.
All right, we're going to start with some race recaps, and we're going to start with the race that Damian put together, his 125-foot dirt drag race that was part of the Full Throttle Monster Trucks event at Florence, Kentucky, at Florence Speedway. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. Damian, tell us about it. How'd it go?
It didn't go too bad. We didn't get the full 16 cars that I was hoping for. We ended up with 13, with 12 making the call for the first round. We had one guy, his throttle linkage ended up breaking during the test passes. But I had myself, Disbro, and his buddy with the Rotten Apple Jeep. Obviously, our own Dave Applegate was there as well. We had a Kyle Walcott with a super stock mud truck. The CJ Scrambler, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. We always call him Tile Man around here. Jay Coons.
You call him what?
Tile Man.
You said Towel Man?
Tile. Like tile flooring.
Oh, okay.
Jay Coons, Blake Cole with the Trump Train, Cody Embry, Andrew Clapp, and his brother Timmy Estridge. And it actually, the track wasn't near as good as it was last year. The equipment they had couldn't break through the clay this year. So it ended up basically being a skating rink for us. You can ask Dave about that.
So I bet that was kind of fun.
Oh, it made it an equal playing field. Even the slower cars were contenders with the faster cars. I also forgot Dustin Steven. He's got the old white racer in the skies. But we had Pro Charger cars, we had turbo cars. Brendan Shelton had his old 49 Chevy out there. Finals, it came down to Timmy Estridge, 632 big block truck versus Cody Embry's turbo Volkswagen Dragster, and something about half track and Cody's car shut off. But there was some really good racing that night. Unfortunately, I didn't get any videos. I've got some shared on Facebook I'll have to dig up, but for the most part, all the guys had fun. We each came out with a little bit of money. Obviously, Timmy came out with a little bit more than what the rest of us did for winning, but hey, it was a fun time.
Well, shout out to the Volkswagen for making it to the finals at least. I know Cody would totally won if I didn't know he had
Cody wants
issues.
that shout out. There you go, Cody.
Yeah, Cody.
You earned it,
Yeah.
buddy.
So you don't have to keep worrying about it anymore. That's the second time we shouted you out now. But the car's dope. I told them that when they posted about it. I love that car. Dave, tell us about it. How was your weekend? How was your weekend at that race?
I had a good time. I've not ever been there before. My dad used to race there when he was a kid on the circle track, and it was cool to see him go and see that again as well. But the other Jeep that Damian talked about is another car called the Bad Apple. Well, I didn't know it, and I started talking to him, and here to find out, my dad and him used to race together back at Edgewater. So that was cool. They got a chance to hang out together and talk about old times. But the crowd, I don't know, 6,000 people, I would say, every bit.
Wow.
When we lined up on the front stretch, it kind of had us all in line. Full Throttle did a great job by getting everything in order. It was fantastic the way they did it. And then all the crowd came out, and the little kids got to sign autographs, jump in the vehicles. It was a great time. Track wise, let's just put it this way. It really didn't matter how much horsepower you had. It was an even playing field, period. Like it was just who can keep it straight in 125 feet. And it was an absolute blast. Like it was a good time. It was.
Totally.
I would do it again. It was a good time.
And
Blake Cole told me that he said that's the most fun he's had in years racing. He said with all the people, he said, yeah, the track sucked, but he said the whole atmosphere and everything was awesome.
yes. And that's what I really aim for when we do these monster truck shows is I love getting all of our people some exposure. And when we get to go in front of a crowd that big, that gets that much into it, the final round crowd pops sounded like a small wrestling show when someone big name pops up out of nowhere.
That's awesome.
Nice.
That's so hype, dude. I bet some of you guys had goosebumps. That's awesome. Man.
And then one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Timmy Estridge, when they pulled up on the front stretch and interviewed him, it looked like a deer in the headlights. He was not ready to be interviewed in front of a crowd.
So
I bet.
He's driving back up the front stretch, and I've already got my camera, and I'm walking up to him, and he's coming, and I'm telling him to stop. I'm pointing at the guy, and Damian, you probably know who was doing the announcing. I do not, but I was pointing at him, and he looks at me, and he's like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "Ah." And he shuts his truck off, and that guy come up, and he's like, "Yeah, it was a good time." It was good. He did really good though. Once he warmed up to it, man, it was awesome. He did a great job. It was good.
What was his name that got first place?
Tim Estridge.
Tim Estridge?
Yep.
Tim Estridge. Well, shout out to Tim and congratulations on getting first place at Full Throttle Monster Truck event at Florence Speedway in Florence, Kentucky. That's really awesome.
And one more thing,
yeah,
Billy.
Sure.
Got to throw this in there because I but I was kidding Damian about the race at Little Sandy. We are now 1-1. I had to race Damian first round. I let go of the button and I just went whoop, and all I seen was the back of his Jeep. So we're 1-1. So
Nice.
Well, there you go. Well, now he's got that over you, Dave. Yeah, we'll have to meet up somewhere and run again.
Oh yeah, it was a good time.
So we'll move on to the Silverback Offroad Speedway Battle in the Sands event they had this weekend. And my first question about this is Jon Sorg the most unstoppable bracket racer of all time? Or at least this year? Because he won 3 classes. this weekend at Silverback Offroad Speedway. So first of all, John, congratulations.
Yes,
Second
sir.
of all,
Good job, bro.
you know, you said you had to minimize your mistakes, and it looks like you didn't have any. So congratulations on that.
It was a good weekend. I did have one blurb though, thanks to Jeff Miller. Got to give a shout out to him. He took me out in the first round, and then I had to buy back in to take the win.
Oh, and which class was that? Which one?
That was sportsman.
No, sportsman. Okay. Well, in sportsman bracket, you got first place, and you defeated Brandy McWethy. Is that Brian? Is that
Yes.
Brian's mom?
No,
Kyle's
that's
mom.
Brian McWethy's sister-in-law
Oh, okay.
I thought that was Brian's wife.
or his wife.
No, that's Brian's wife.
Brian's
No, that's
wife.
Kyle
Kyle's
Wiedelmeyer's
sister-in-law.
sister-in-law. I'm thinking of Kyle.
Oh,
Kyle
okay,
Wiedelmeyer's
okay.
sister-in-law.
Brian, what was she running?
Brian McWethy's. She was riding his pickle.
His what?
His pickle.
Whoa!
Whoa,
Family
hey.
show.
Hey.
What are you doing?
She's riding his pickle. You can look at her Facebook and read
What
it.
does that even mean? Just say it what it is. I
Oh,
don't
it's a
understand.
green quad,
Oh,
and it was always nicknamed the pickle before she ever rode it.
That
okay.
big Snowmo triple, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, I believe so. It runs 4.4s. They had it tuned into about a 4.4, 442.
All right.
Consistent all weekend. She went farther than Kyle.
Oh,
That bike's been
That
around
Kyle
a
didn't
long
even get a
time.
podium.
yeah. Well, shout out to Brandy McWethy because John's already got 3 first place, so we don't need to shout out him too much here.
I think John won last weekend, didn't he? The weekend before.
Yeah,
Didn't you win the weekend before?
he's a freaking animal.
Who's that?
You.
Didn't you win a weekend before too?
Yeah, I had good luck that weekend too.
Nice.
Humble brag. Okay, and then the pro bracket race. First place, Jon Sorg. Congratulations. Second place, Jeff Miller. So you had to race him in the final after you had to buy back in the sportsman after he beat you. So you got a little revenge on him right there in the pro bracket.
I had to get a little revenge, but him and I had a great time racing each other, and all of them were tight, man. I mean, the one was within 9 thousandths, the other one was with, they were all really tight.
Cool. And then it was my understanding that the weather was an issue, and it was determined a non-points race because of I don't know what the reasoning was behind that.
Basically rained it out.
Okay.
They basically rained it out, and then they just said, "Hey, man, if you guys were points goers, you're getting points for being here. But anybody that wants to stay and race, we're going to have a pro class and a sportsman class. If you guys want to still run, for all you they're still there." We didn't start until I want to say 5:30 in the afternoon before we got things going. It rained all day. They were able to pull off the juniors in the morning, and then it started raining during juniors, and they finished it, but it didn't stop.
Johnny, I heard that they didn't charge any gate Saturday night.
Not that I'm aware of. They
Nice.
just down the gate
that's
and
cool.
just let it be.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, it's cool that you get to get in the gate for free on Saturday after they got cleaned up and did some racing. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. Back to these results real quick. 350 index class. Was that on Friday also? 350?
Yes, that was Friday.
First place, Gary Golumsky. I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Golubisky.
Whatever. I don't, I'm not from there. Golumbisky. Okay.
Yep.
Second place, Terry Wise. Yeah, what was Gary running? I knew he had that Ranger.
Yeah.
He's got a pro charge truck.
Oh, is he still running the Ranger?
Yeah.
So it slowed down quite a bit then.
Yeah, he detuned it and was running 350, which is probably a good place for him. There's really, unless he goes to the 325 class on Saturday too.
I've seen that truck in the 3.0s. That thing's awesome.
I'd say he's
Yeah,
probably
I've seen
going to try
that
for
315 as fast as I've seen it.
What was that, Damian?
I'd say he's probably going to try for elite.
Oh, definitely. I hope so.
I don't know. That'd be cool. We'd like to
I don't
see
know
that.
why he didn't last year though.
Was the motor down, maybe?
No. He just flat out wasn't there. I couldn't believe it. So I guess we're gonna have to poke him when he shows up about getting in that.
Well, Mr. Golumbisky, I just found out how to say your last name. you have a sweet Ford Ranger, and we'd like to see you back out there running. That's awesome.
Totally.
In the open bracket class, first place, very own Jon Sorg. John, hey.
Who is this guy?
He's unstoppable. He's unstoppable. He beat another John Van Vleen, oh my
Van
God,
Vielen.
Van Vielen. Okay,
We'll help you out there, Billy.
John Van Vielen. He's got a sweet truck.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
he
That square body's awesome. I seen Dave's post that he made about him. That thing is awesome.
Did you see how fast he went this weekend? He got it down to a 441.
That's
Jesus,
awesome.
how much is he spraying in that thing now?
He said he didn't spray any more to it.
Is this street legal?
Oh,
It
gosh.
probably could be if he put the right tires on it, but I don't think it is right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Well, nonetheless, the truck's badass.
Yeah, sick.
White.
Pee-wees, first place, Wesley Green. Second place, Oliver Bennett. And then in juniors, first place, Bria Van Vielen. And then second place, oh wow, Aurelia. Wow, I'm gonna butcher this child's name. Aurelia Earl, I'm guessing. No help on that one. Okay, so nobody else knows who that is. So that's fair. Okay. Okay, well, those are your winners from the Battle in the Sands at Silverback Offroad Speedway. There we go. We're gonna do a Homochitto recap. They had a race this weekend. They haven't raced in a while. They've been affected by weather pretty bad. But Michael sent me just a quick little breakdown of their weekend. They had ET bracket race with 35 entries with a pot total of $2,450, with first and second place winners deciding to split the pot 50-50. John Crenshaw came in first place. RJ Manley came in second place. Their track record was broke 3 times. The Manleys broke the previous record set by Jason Thames with a 355 with a 4 on Friday night. And then El Panda, I guess the Puerto Rican fellow, El Panda then broke their record with a 352 Saturday. And then the Manleys broke El Panda's record with a 347. So now the new track record at Homochitto Dirt Drags, and I forgot the name of the town, but somewhere in Mississippi, is now held by Manly Racing.
Manly Motorsports.
Manly Motorsports. Thank you, Rick. Rick, tell us a little bit what you know about this bike that they set this track record with. And first of all, congrats to the Manleys for running the 347.
Yeah, definitely. Congratulations to the Manleys. I know them very well. The dad Stevie and daughter Destiny and son RJ. They're a whole family operation. I actually know that bike pretty well. That was one of my old bikes, R2. I sold it to them probably 5-6 years ago now, and they just put a new motor in it. 16 mil Cheetah. Looks like it's running pretty strong. Bike looked real good. Seen all the videos. Yeah, 347. Interesting fact about the way that record played out was Jason Thames has a snowmo bike. He broke the record originally, and he's a big rider, like a regular sized guy. Jason Thames also was on Street Outlaws, if you've ever heard that name before. So he just bought some bikes, and so he rides his own stuff. So triple snowmobile broke the record. Then the Panda, El Panda's a full plastic twin, no bar. So then he broke the record. And then RJ is a twin on a bar. So 3 different kinds of bikes really battling it out for the track record, which is pretty cool. And it looked like a blast down there in Homochitto, and the Manleys had a great outing. They got a bunch of bikes, and it really looks like that R2 bike really ran well. They had a good outing, and I'm sure they'll be in Sheltons here in a couple weeks.
Caleb?
Yeah, no, I mean, anytime you're getting into, the mid to low 3s with a bike is pretty crazy, and it's cool to see that record kind of bounce back and forth. As Rick was saying, 3 completely different combinations setting that, and it's cool to see those track records. I wish more tracks would actually keep track of that. we've got some tracks to do a much better job with that, with different classes that they run even. But track record, walking away at the end of the weekend, it's a pretty cool accomplishment.
So personally, like, as silly as it sounds, like they're keeping track of the track record, which I didn't really know until a friends of ours in the Manleys broke the record. I know all three of those different separate teams that broke the record over and over and over again. It kind of has guys like me and Bryson. We kind of were thinking like, we got a couple different bikes we could take down there and maybe take a crack at that 347, because and that's something little that could bring more people to the track. Like, that has me interested. I really would like to go to that track. It's a new up and coming track.
Well, plus they got Gilbert, they got Jeff Gio's old setup.
Yeah, I
prepping the
believe
track
they're
as
good
well.
friends. I believe the people who own the track are good friends with Jeff and Kim as well. So, I mean, if you're getting knowledge from Mr. Gio, or such a guy who has a track as nice as what he's working with, I mean, they're heading in the right direction. The track looks nice. Obviously, with that 16 mil cheetah that the Manly's got running, in the mid 40s, upper 40s, that's a pretty respectable time for an up and coming track. I feel like, to me, that's enough to show me that it would be worth going down there. And sometimes you try to get a feel, you try to see how a couple faster bikes run down at a new track before you make the long haul down to a place like Mississippi. But a weekend like we just seen has me really wanting to make a trip to Homochitto, I'll tell you that.
Of course. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I think a lot of people besides yourself are excited to get down there after seeing that as well.
Another new racetrack, fellas. You can't go wrong with that.
Nope. And it's just, Mississippi. You never been? Go check it out. Make a drive. Make a trip out of it. It's all good.
Hey everybody, this week's episode brought to you by Racing in the Dirt. Located in Cleveland, Wisconsin, Racing in the Dirt has been in the off-road parts, equipment, and chassis business for over 30 years now. From full chassis builds, currently at 50 and counting, to wheel adapters, brake kits and components, hub kits and components, steering parts and knuckles, suspension parts, air filters, complete chain drives and parts, also real wheels and even cut tires, Scott, Shane, and company can get you hooked up with everything your dirt drag, sand, or mud ride needs. New from Racing in the Dirt for 2024, UTV offerings. From full cages to protected bars, with more parts to come, they're stepping into the UTV market with some new stuff. So find them on the web, racinginthedirt.com, or connect with them on Facebook, or give them a call. Area code 920-693-2000. That's area code 920-693-2000. And the UPS Daily, racinginthedirt.com.
All right, we're moving into our race previews for this coming weekend and the weekend after that. But we're going to start with Southern Powersports Drag Racing Series having their first official race. Well, they had an event, but now they're actually going to do some eliminations and racing for real. And Dave, go ahead and tell us about it one more time. We went a little bit big about it last week, but let's go and talk about it one more time here. Some things that you're kind of looking forward to, and just some details about the race coming up at Silverback Offroad Speedway.
Sounds good. Well, yeah, we'll make it nice and short here. Unfortunately, our first one at Lumber River, Mother Nature kicked our butt, so we couldn't do it. So Silverback is this coming weekend. It's been some concerns, or been some questions, I should say. On the flyer, it says 13th through the 16th. I just want to reiterate this again. The reason is be due to the township. If someone's going to be spending the night, they have to have that date on there. So Thursday, the 13th, those coming in, can come in and set up. Race is actually Friday and Saturday. On the schedule, it says Sunday. Again, that's just so people can stay the night Saturday and leave on Sunday, so that everyone knows. Gate fee, $5 for Friday, $10 for Saturday. Pretty daggone reasonable there. I got that word today from Kyle. Kyle's been a huge help. Got some really cool things, man. We've got some guys in these trucks and dragsters that have decided to come out and put on a heck of a show. So if we get enough, we're going to have a class. So if there's any 295 guys out there or close to 295, come on out, because we're going to have a class for you. We're going to do it. We got quick 8 or quick 16 Friday night. We got a humongous open bracket Friday night. We're going to do, if we get enough side-by-sides, full size, and four-wheelers, we're going to do 3 separate quick 16s. So that'll be interesting on Friday. And then we get into Saturday, we're looking at a little bit of time run again. And then we jump in our index classes, our pro comp class, which looks like it's going to be huge. Now, we also have the one that you guys have talked about down there at Brookville that's going to be coming up, which is guys are going to be deciding which one they want to go to. So who knows how to work, but I believe it's going to still be big for both tracks. I think this weekend's going to be great for both. And I'm just looking forward to it. Definitely looking forward to see some of these blower cars coming out. That's my thing. It's where I come from, is a blower motor, so I can't wait. Got some new guys, actually. A couple four-wheelers said it's their first time. So they're coming. So even getting some new people, which is good. That's the whole idea of this, is to bring new people into the sport. So very excited about it. And, Kyle and Brody there at Silverback, Brent's been a great help getting all this together. Can't wait, man. So, if you're in that area, got some guys traveling all the way from Utah, as a matter of fact. Found that out last night. So,
Wow.
yes, sir. 23 and a half hours is what they're saying.
Is
They
that
already
K&T?
left.
K&T?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
That's it's Trevor Dana is coming out.
Oh,
So
okay.
peak performance. Yep. So they're
Yeah,
coming
side by
out.
side guy.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And we've got guys at the bottom of Alabama coming. So we've got the guys coming from all over the place. I'm really excited about it. And it's going to be good. It's going to be real good.
Well, that's awesome.
Hope we can build it up. Got a lot of four-wheelers coming. I don't think we're going to have as many four-wheelers this time. Let's face it, the thing going on the next week, I think that was a rainout date for the PSDA. Is that right? Ricky, is that correct?
Yeah, yes, sir. That was a reschedule, which I'm assuming people are either they're going to your race, or they're going to the race the next weekend at Sheltons, or they're like me and they don't have anything ready. There's 3 different options there.
That's right. Well, I can tell you, the guys that follow PSDA and these other ones, these guys have been around a while. So, this is the first year for Southern Powersports. So, I'm not looking to go out there and wipe everybody off the map. These guys come to go to the races that you feel that you want to go to. Let's make it work. If I had a four-wheeler and I went to PSDA all the time and it got rescheduled, well, to be honest, I would be going to PSDA. You know what I mean? Honestly. So I know that's part of it, just like the the thing with the insurance thing that we're going to get into later there. Guys are going to start going to Brookville. So that's what we need. Hey, the good thing is people have an option now. Think about that, guys. They've got an option to go all these different tracks, man. That's the main thing. That's what makes it so exciting for everybody. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. Just support your local track. You know what I mean? That's the biggest thing. If you're watching this, even if you're not running like Ricky isn't right now, I'm sure Ricky might jump out there and go to one of these races and support them. You know what I mean? And sit in the corner like any of us would and kind of have a tear in our eye because we can't race. But that's okay.
Well, Dave, we're excited for you in this series, in this race coming up this weekend. Possibly some huge money on the line, like almost maybe $11,000 for one class in the pro comp class. So everybody, if you're around the Mears, Michigan area, you know where to go, because that race is going to be awesome. And we're excited for you, Dave.
Dave and Billy, as the one of the ATV guys around here, I gotta say, the community is excited for what you're doing, Dave. And we're all gonna get there. For whoever's not gonna make it to the Silverback race, like myself, I was planning on doing that. I'm not ready. I'm gonna plan on hitting something else you got going later in the year. I feel like what you're doing is huge, and with a little more time and a little more exposure, I think it's going to be a great series. I'm looking forward to running it myself. I come from a track at Silverback where growing up there, where there's cars and bikes run together all the time. So I'm looking forward to being able to hit your series at some point.
Well, I greatly appreciate that.
Like a lot of people are excited as well, just from what I've heard, through talking to a bunch of people. We're all looking forward to having another awesome series to run. So we're looking forward to it, and keep up the good work, man. What you got going is awesome.
I greatly appreciate that, Rick. Thank you.
Oh,
Yep, no
definitely.
problem.
Same
Yeah,
for us
well
down
put.
here. Hopefully our races don't intermingle too much, like Sheltons or I believe you still got Little Sandy on the schedule too, both of them. Hopefully one of those weekends don't line up with a race down here. We'll hopefully be able to try and make it to one of yours.
The only thing
Southern
I'm worried
Powers-
about is that Jon Sorg guy, because I don't know, man. He's been winning everything, and he might be scaring some of the guys off. What do you think, Rick? You think maybe that people won't show up because John's coming? I don't know.
I
I
gotta
think
tell you
that'll
what.
intrigue
I
them
gotta,
to come
I
knock
gotta
me off
tell
the
you what.
perch.
I am not shocked at all. I've been watching Johnny win since I was in diapers. So that's what Johnny does. So I'm not shocked to see Johnny doing what he does best the last couple weeks, and he'll probably do a little more of that this year if all goes as he's planning. Isn't that right, Johnny?
That's right. If
Just
all
put a
goes to
height
plan.
limit on the drivers. It'll be all right.
You would throw that out there.
Yeah, I would. Well, Southern Powersports Drag Racing Series heading to Silverback Offroad Speedway this coming weekend. You're probably there right now listening to this. So enjoy yourselves. We are moving on to the Mud Racers Association race at Upper Merrimack Dirt Drags in Cook Station, Missouri. Our boy Isaac will be there representing WSDN and bring you all the great content from where some of the fastest machines in the world will be at.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be great. There's a ton of new cars coming out. If you're watching this on Friday morning, all I got to say is get ready, because there's some really, really good stuff getting ready to hit the track tonight. They have a meet and greet, I believe, is at 6 o'clock on Friday night, and racing's going to start at 7. Great to get people involved, have them check out the stuff, new stuff coming out, and also be able to see a lot of the drivers up close and personal Friday night. So great opportunity for that. Yeah, really looking forward to it. It's going to be a good weekend. Yeah, I'm fairly excited. It's been a long time since I was around a really good mud race, and where this is more dirt drag type stuff, but looking forward to it. And yeah, everything from street stock all the way up to the open paddles and open cuts classes. So we'll try to do as much as we can. Shout out early on to the Martinez family, who has graciously offered to share their on-site internet with us. So hopefully that means we can get a lot of content out for you Friday and Saturday night.
Yes, most indeed. Most indeed. And real quick, Damian, for the people listening to this, top 3 things we should be looking forward to the most, or you're looking forward to the most from this race. Go.
One of the biggest things is the Outlaw Pro Stock class. Over the last couple of years, it's really been ramping up. After 2 years ago, they controversially allowed blowers and turbo combinations into the class. Now you have everything from 900-inch nitrous motors to Route 1471 blown Hemis, and Pro-Charger combinations might show up, turbochargers, but so far it's just been blower, nitrous, and NA. You'll have Jamie Suter's KCD 66 Chevy with a big nitrous motor. You'll have Eric Bidlack and Harrison Logging's new truck, which Harrison Logging has, over the last couple of years, been the dominant force in the open classes. They put together a Outlaw Pro Stock truck with a blower motor, independent front suspension. When Florida got canceled, they took it out to race in Mississippi just to test it, and first pass it blew its own doors off. Then you've also got the open class. You've got all sorts of screw blown and roots blown, very large nitrous injected on top of the blowers, a few twin turbo cars and such looking to run in that class. And then another thing that I've noticed on looking at the flyer, the modified cuts class, they are combining the ET and reaction time for that class. So you have to cut a decent light and still make a good pass to win. You can't just sit on the starting line for 10 seconds, making sure that bottle pressure's right, making sure
Which
the
class
engine
is
temperature's
that?
right.
Which class is that?
Modified cuts,
Oh,
which
wow.
is their 150-inch four-wheel drive unlimited cubic inch, nitrous injection, only power adder allowed.
Yeah, just real quick, give us a quick breakdown of each class. You just did one. Go ahead to the next one.
Open paddles, open cuts. They've got a minimum weight, 150-inch wheelbase, 4-wheel drive. Any power adder. The only rule is really on the engine is no nitromethane. You've got guys out there running screw-blown Hemis, spraying as much as 500 horse on top of that.
Wow.
Outlaw Pro Stock, full body trucks, Jeeps, old coupes with engines out in front. They can't be set too far back. These things are short wheelbase, ill handling little monsters, and they're looking to go faster. Obviously, Bidlack's got their new piece out. Our sponsor, Racing in the Dirt, is helping out with a bunch of them. They've got Broncos out there. They've got Jason Chaya with his little crazy Bronco. Hopefully it's out with a new big inch Ford Hemi from Bischoff. Naturally aspirated a couple years ago. That thing was running within 2/10 in the modified cuts class with no nitrous.
Wow. That's insane.
Then below that, you have Pro Stock, which is basically Outlaw Pro Stock, but naturally aspirated. And then one of the more interesting classes to watch, because it's the only heads-up class they run, Super Stock. Full-body trucks, factory-style suspensions, giant, naturally aspirated cast intake, big blocks. And a lot of them, if they come and run 300 foot with us, they're outrunning this thing on nitrous.
That's crazy.
And they're 3,600 pounds.
Them boys moving.
That ain't no lie.
Well, you raced against, what was it, Jason Hoskins? Is that right?
Yeah, I have ran with Jason Hoskins. I haven't raced against him, but we have ran at similar races. I know he's been in the 4 teens, 4 O's. Tony Evans, if he were to show up, he has a little less 10. It's been 3 9s. I've raced with a Jeep out of West Virginia when we went down to Little Sandy earlier this year. And he was lifting about 200 foot and still running 4 O's at 70 mile an hour when I'm running a 4.0 at damn near 80.
That was the guy who tried to run you with no index after that one race?
That is another good one. Is Dotson. They have an old Bronco, which used to be a sand dragger back in the day, called the Straw Boss. It was a Bronco that had a blower motor back in the early 80s. They rebuilt it, redesigned it, put everything back in the stock locations and put it on 44 boggers with a very big inch Ford big block. And it ran a 394 at Cleves at 3,600 pound on cut boggers.
Well, that's fast as fuck. Back to this race. What's your number one thing that we're looking forward to from this race at Upper Merrimack Dirt Drags, the MRA race?
For me, it's always got to be the Outlaw Pro Stock. I'm a door slammer guy at heart. Almost everything in that class would be legal to go to Michigan for the PTN Elite class. There's a few that they stretch the rules. There's a car from Missouri. I believe he actually owns the track they're going to, Upper Merrimack Dirt Drags. It's the self-inflicted truck. The engine is just so big that they can't put the hood on it.
Okay. So it
that's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I gotta go not against Damian here, but I'm just a little different style. I gotta go with I follow the MRA as much as I get a chance to. And I really like the Harrison logging team. They have nothing but stout cars. The Outlaw car that they have, Kevin Harrison, I believe that drives that one, correct, Damian? Kevin Harrison.
Class.
Yep. Really, really, really fast car. But as much as I'm excited about the Outlaw class, I seen the video where that truck blew its own doors off. It was absolute. I've never seen a full body truck move the way that truck moved, especially on cut tires. So I have to say, I know there was some controversy about allowing blower motors and other combinations in that class, but I'm all for blown door slammers.
Yeah, those things are sweet. That truck was awesome too. I mean, with the doors or without it, I mean, it was awesome.
That same team used to have they had like a 32 or something, Damian. You remember what was that truck? I think it caught on fire at some point. It had they put that Hemi in it maybe a year or two ago. Wasn't that the Harrisons that had
a different team.
Okay. All right.
But I know the truck you're talking about. They started the year with a nitrous motor. By the end of it, they had a blown Hemi, and they were sneaking up on being competitive. there's not really been a blower truck that's really taken the top spot yet, but there's a couple of them in the ballpark right now.
Okay, so Ricky, real quick, what's something that you're looking forward to see from this race, from the MRA race? What's kind of something you're looking forward to?
Really, I don't have one set thing. I really enjoy watching each individual class and seeing how each of these classes pan out based on a different rule set. I'm a real big fan of the Magician, a car in the Outlaw, or what is that? That's
Modified.
the modified class where it's just mountain motor, a lot of nitrous, the rails. It's very, very interesting. The old Rogie family always had a competitive, I need to touch up on it for sure, which I'm going to tonight and tomorrow, getting ready for this race. But I got to tell you, it's just impressive how fast some of these cars move on cut tires, and especially on paddles in a short distance. They look like an absolute handful. So really any class from super stock all the way up, it looks like you just got to saw off at the wheels of each of these cars. And every video that I've seen online that they post, I really enjoy it. I really like to see the mud racing still holding on, because I was a big fan of NMRO growing up. Damian knows that. We've had several conversations about that. So to see the MRA still going strong, I'm looking forward to just another solid race of wild action in each class.
Great take. Great take. Isaac, you're going to be there.
Which I'm jealous of, Isaac.
What's that?
What?
I'm jealous that you get the opportunity to go out there. That'll be a blast.
Yes, it will. So, and also shout out to Racing in the Dirt for getting Isaac there. Isaac, what's something you're looking forward to besides that awesome cabin you're going to stay in?
So, yes, shout out to the bookers for helping get that arranged through the guys Racing in the Dirt. Really appreciate that. I have kind of maybe one that's kind of off the map here a little bit. I think we've all seen that red F-150 out of Mississippi that laid down a lick this past weekend. I reached out a little bit today, and this just in, that may be making an appearance this weekend in Missouri. And if so, that is a bad hot rod. Oh, that's my awesome word. If this pans out, I cannot wait. That truck is legitly fast. There is no doubt about it.
Now, the big question is he going to get the 44s under it to actually get that power to the ground? Because that's the crazy thing, is he did that on a set of 35s.
Right? I mean, that's so I'm looking forward to it. Damian and Ricky both, do you guys feel, this is just my personal kind of opinion here, but I almost feel like Outlaw Pro Stock, much like Pro Mod on NHRA, is almost developing its own cult type following, where it's almost more popular than the fastest cars that are out there.
Yeah, it definitely has been growing, that following, and it's been there for years. And just because of guys like Randy Roberts and such, over the years, Randy's been the top dog in that for the longest time, and then he kind of left it, and now we're starting to see all these new Racing in the Dirt trucks come out.
I think the variety that you see in that class is what makes it appealing. I think that the different variation, that's why Pro Modified Truck was always my favorite class in the sand, Isaac, because you get to see there's nothing better than just no different than No Prep Kings or any popular asphalt racing right now, where you can get to see a diverse group of cars all battling it out under the same circumstances. And there's going to be a Bronco guy rooting for the Bronco. That Jason Chia's Broncos, that's one of the most incredible. Basically, that class also comes down to one of the most incredible rule sets that these guys get to set they're absolutely wild. Like Damian said, they're ill-handling little monsters, and that's really a great great take on it, because that's what brings me to the class. And I think like you said, Isaac, it's developing a cult-like following as the door slammer pro mod class of the mud, dirt, whatever you want to call it.
Now, another take with that is hopefully here soon we'll see some of our own sand guys that fit that class. Right now I know of 2 cars. I don't know if one of them's running, but the Wine Time Jeep and the Kryptonite Jeep of one of our former record holder and current record holder of A Sport Mod. Those are basically outlaw pro stock style cars.
Yep.
Well, Motor Racers Association race this weekend. Isaac's going to be there bringing you content. Just a disclaimer: if internet service is terrible and cannot bring you live coverage, we're going to have an awesome YouTube video, regardless
Yes.
of how the internet's going to be. So,
Yep.
just
For
be
sure.
ready for that as well.
For sure.
And shout out to Isaac's wife for going with him and helping out with the filming. So, shout out to that. Really appreciate that. Caleb's with us. What's up, Caleb?
What's up, guys?
He's
What's up,
popped
Caleb?
in.
Just in time for the wingdinger discussion.
We're going to move on, actually.
Hey, everybody. This week's episode brought to you by Racing in the Dirt. Located in Cleveland, Wisconsin, Racing in the Dirt has been in the off-road parts, equipment, and chassis business for over 30 years now. From full chassis builds, currently at 50 and counting, to wheel adapters, brake kits and components, hub kits and components, steering parts and knuckles, suspension parts, air filters, complete chain drives and parts, also real wheels and even cut tires, Scott Shane and company can get you hooked up with everything your dirt drag, sand, or mud ride needs. New from Racing in the Dirt for 2024, UTV offerings. From full cages to protected bars, with more parts to come, they're stepping into the UTV market with some new stuff. So find them on the web, racinginthedirt.com, or connect with them on Facebook, or give them a call. Area code 920-693-2000. That's area code 920-693-2000. And the UPS Daily, racinginthedirt.com.
We're going to move on, actually, to we just found out today, breaking news, Brookville has insurance again.
Yeah.
So that's great news.
Yay.
And they're actually racing this weekend. They're going to host it looks like a bracket race. So yeah, Damian, just real quick, tell us about what Brookville's got going on this weekend.
This weekend, Friday, they got your standard test and tune, $20 entry fee for the test and tune, $15 gate pass per day. Come down, make as many passes you want. Just bring your safety equipment, obviously. Then Saturday, they've got your standard bracket race. You get one guaranteed time pass. I believe, I don't know if they continued this on from last year, but last year, if you wanted an extra pass, you had to pay a little extra money to get a second time pass. And then they split the dial-ins down the middle, and you have your fast and slow bracket. Please, people, if you're close by, considering racing, grab your helmet, bring your truck, bring your race car, whatever. Support the club, because right now the insurance cost is ridiculous. They need to get the racers and the fans and the spectators and everyone in to make sure we can pay off the actual coverage, because right now they're only paying half of it, and then they need to make the money and do installments to pay the rest of it.
I have an idea. Those weekends that y'all ain't racing, do some truck events, do some truck shows. People just love trucks. People just love racing their pickup trucks.
We do have one truck show coming up this year that we're working with at the fairgrounds. The plan is to have sort of a hard packed dirt track race just for them, because
yes,
all them diesel guys are going to be wanting to run their buddy.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Just freaking do like 7 of those and they'll eat that.
Well, that takes a lot of effort still to put on. And again, Franklin County is all volunteers.
Yeah, you got to grade the track.
Yeah, but someone's got to be in the tower all day. Somebody's got to be calling them.
Well,
I understand that.
I think what you guys can do is even just nix the racing. Just have it set up where you can even utilize the track if you want as staging grounds for this, but do those car shows. You can literally have
truck show
street
right next to the
vehicles
track.
and
The other problem with that is Franklin County does not Franklin County four-wheelers, we do not own the grounds we race on. We rent them. We have to schedule ahead of time. A year, we have to have our schedule in early enough that the fairgrounds can look at and say, okay, these dates are fine. And then they scheduled back in November. So back in November, we had our schedule set almost in stone, other than a few small things, because they have to know when the fair is, when all this is going on, because they have other entities. They have a tractor pulling club. They have small tractor pulls, derbies, and other stuff that rent the grounds throughout the year.
That makes sense. Well, hey, still
pencil in those empty dates.
Yeah,
but we're definitely going to try and make this the best year we can. I know they've got also a team point series going on this year. Teams.
Yeah, who's on Team Squirrel? Who's on Team Squirrel again? Damian.
We haven't named my team. I'm going to leave that up to the other teammates.
Team Squirrel.
Team Squirrel.
Team Squirrel.
Team Squirrel.
But I'm on a team with Trent Sampson. He's got a mean little short bed Chevy, white with a black hood on it. He mostly runs NA all year, runs 4.7s. He's put a nitrous kit on it recently and got it down into the 450s or 440s a year or two ago. Austin Bullock, the change of plan single turbo 4.8 LS Jeep Dreer car. And then Scott Martin. They have the old Brave and Crazy altered. He might be driving that. He might be driving his old yellow race truck. He might be driving his work dually. I don't know. But he's the one that kind of rounds out the team.
That's awesome. He sounds like a squirrel, so that's perfect.
Squirrel.
Yeah.
So Franklin County four-wheelers, Brookville, Indiana, they're racing this weekend. First points race of the season. And they're back up and running. So go support them if you're around that area. If you can't make it to Cook Station, Missouri, or if you can't make it to Silverback, definitely make it over to Brookville, Indiana. Do some good old bracket racing.
Is it a points race, Damian?
Yes.
Okay.
The only
so it
races
is their
that don't
officially first points race.
Yeah. The only races that don't fall on points races throughout the year, I believe, are the fair race and the Outlaw Series race. The fair race, just because they get such an influx of locals that don't race all year, just dragging their stock pickups out of the barns and trying to come and race. High school kids racing their street trucks and so on.
Yep.
Back with Ricky and Caleb, we are going to dive into a quick preview of the Pro Sanddrag Association race coming up next weekend at Sheltons Dirt Drags. And Ricky, you gonna be there? Will you be there?
No, I'm not making a trip this time, Billy. I got nothing ready. Like we were talking off air there. I got a lot of stuff in the works for the season. We just got nothing ready yet. So we're gonna sit this one out, but plenty of friends heading down there. So I'll be one of the ones glued to the videos and the live streams and the updates.
So what's just top three? Just don't take too long on this. Top three things you're looking forward to from the PSDA race at Sheltons. Go.
I gotta say that there's three separate teams going down that I'm gonna be keeping an eye on. Bennett Motorsports, good friends of mine, Daniel and Nick, and Krista Loudermilk will be riding a bike when they go down there. Daniel at 280 pounds a couple weeks back in the sand at Silverback won a 319 on the Z1. And I have been chomping at the bit to see what that thing does with the jockey on it in the dirt down there at Shelton's. Billy, I think it's going to fly. They have high hopes, and yeah, they're chasing that 2-second club and they're chasing that record. So, like I said, 280-pound rider in the sand a couple weeks back. Daniel went a 319 at like 95 miles per hour. So I really think they got a good shot at the 2-second club, which would be pretty incredible. So I'm rooting for them on that one. And then I also have Bryson and Kevin and the Wanna Play team and the team Flat Out. They'll be down there together running some new combinations, a bunch of them. And really, obviously keeping an eye on Bryson and Dave and how they're running. They got those new Cunningham fabrication chassis with some strong motors in them. And the Flat Out team, they got a bunch of Big Miller Motors, that big single Kevin won a 30 on last year. And so I hope my people have a safe and fast week down there in that group there. And also Eric and Misty on that nitrous twin they ran in Dome Valley out of Michigan here. They got some high hopes. I know that they got the bike back together, either recently got it back together or they're putting it together within the next couple of days here. And I think that nitrous twin's gonna. I think if they get everything lined out with it, that new nitrous setup, I think that Eric and Misty and the whole crew out there with that setup's really gonna run a maybe in the O's. So that's my top three of what not being out there this time. I'm really gonna be watching for those three results, and I like to see everybody winning and doing good. So I'm sure the numbers are gonna drop out there, and hopefully everyone has a safe and fast week out there for sure.
My race, I held there. Well, I wouldn't say I held it there, but I helped put it together. Austin Pittman won the bracket race out there for the ATVs, and he was on a 650 build that was putting down some killer numbers in the 330s all day long. I believe his best pass is a 332. I think it was awesome.
Oh yeah, I got to
give a shout out to that.
Those are good friends of mine. I love those guys, Dud Hud, those guys from Kentucky out there, Tracy Whitlock and Austin Pittman, Danny Ray Sanders, some of the best guys in the business for sure. Like I said, I got a lot of love and respect for those guys, and that's an awesome bike. And Austin's a great rider, and Tracy's really talented when it comes to those two-stroke engines. And really, I'll tell you what, as a fellow competitor with a brand new 650 bike coming out, we're all me and Austin are kind of chasing this little funny goal where someone wants to be the first Chrome Molly 650 in the 20s, and some full tie 650s have been 20s and one in the teens now, but not anyone with a Chrome Molly chassis. So I was watching those videos closely when they came out, Billy, from your race. I said, "Oh, Austin's out there testing." I looking for the numbers and seeing what they were running, because Austin's last message to me was, "That's going to be an awesome bike, but you can be the second in the 20s." So it's those are good guys, good competition, and I was glad that a couple bikes showed up and ran there, and I'm looking forward. I'm sure those guys will be running some numbers out there, and I got to tell you, I always look out for Tracy and Austin. I'm sure they'll be running if they make it out there in a couple weeks. I'm sure they'll be running good.
Austin's a freaking dog, and Tracy walking around with his boot getting a good spot for him was kind of funny to watch too. But he was awesome to talk to. Great to meet those guys.
Yep. Two really good dudes right there for sure.
Absolutely, Caleb. Top three things you're kind of looking forward to from this PSDA race. What are they?
Top three things. Well, first of all, I'm super excited for the PSDA at Sheltons. This race was originally supposed to be last month, and just due to all the crazy weather that whole part of the country has been having, super excited to see more bikes out there. I think people are chomping at the bit for this. I'm really excited for the single cylinder showdown between Cunningham Fab with Trey Allen and Miller Racing, Kevin Slater. I really want to see those two bikes go head to head. I think those are for whatever reason, Shelton's just brings out the single cylinders, and as a 250R guy, like, I love it. I can't wait to see those guys battle.
That
definitely awesome. Looking forward to Missy running some numbers out there too. I'm going to echo that from Ricky. Seeing them kind of bring that out to Dome Valley for the first time, and really, start messing with it for their first time with nitrous, and seeing the numbers that they put down at Silverback, I'm excited for seeing that thing on a killer, prepped bike track. And I think the last thing is, I love Sheltons because we see the two-wheelers show up. And I don't know who's planning on going there. I'm really having my fingers crossed we're going to see some of the Top Fuel bikes. They have had rainouts at a couple of events at Greens Raceway, Virginia. And so I'm hoping that we see some of them show up to Shelton's running like the open classes. We see Gizmo out there. I want to see him back in the twos.
They definitely put on a show. Speaking of two-wheelers, shout out to James Shelton himself. He's building. He's getting a two-wheeler built. I seen he was racing one at a race not too long ago. I seen videos of it, but JWI is actually building him one of those really freaking awesome 2-wheelers with a turbocharged Busa, and it's going to be freaking awesome.
Ooh, that's
can't
gonna
wait
be
to
interesting.
A lot of people might not know that about Mr. James because he seems like a nice, calm, cool, collected guy when he's running the track there, but he's a wild son of a gun that rides some wild stuff. Those 2-wheelers that he's always messed with those things, and that new bike that he's building it's going to be insane.
It's going to be nuts, and we can't wait to see it. So shout out to James, and he was hoping to have it ready for this PSDA race, but it might be there, but I don't think it will be, according to him, if I remember that right. My memory's horrible. So, but no, I don't really have any real notes from this. Besides, I just hope it goes well, and I hope that nothing carries over into the next day, because I know the curfew really gets to everybody at Sheltons. You can't start until noon, and you got to finish at midnight. But I'm hoping that everything goes smoothly and gets done, and I'm hoping for a great race for everybody at the PSDA race. I really am. Me and Caleb here, Thunder Valley Sanddrags season opener this weekend. We actually had 2 test and tunes in April, and then due to the weather, we've been rained out, and we're going to be running this weekend. I will not be there. I will be getting married, and so yeah, they're going to run a race this weekend, regular points race, Pee-wees, juniors, pro comp, sport comp, Pro 1 ATV, Pro 2 ATV, Sport ATV, your regular lineup, and looking to be a good first race for the Thunder Valley Sand Drag crew. Yeah. I probably won't participate in points this year. Well, I might, because I'll have confidence to go win the rest of the races.
There you go.
Yeah.
On the mini bike, right?
On the mini bike, of course. Yeah, of course. I would. Why in the hell would I race anything else when I have this?
Well, you know,
awesome
you've got your other bike.
Yeah, but we're having carburetor issues with that. Once they get figured out, we'll be smooth sailing.
Get on it, Billy.
Caden's going to be running that in juniors. So since the kids limit, forgot about that. Juniors and Pee-wees now have ET limits on them. The fastest you can dial in juniors is a 5.0, or excuse me, the fastest you can dial in Pee-wees is a 5.0, and the fastest you can dial in juniors is a 4.0, 4.00. So that'll be kind of new this year. Just something to think about going to the racing season. Hoping for more cars this year. Didn't really have good luck with car numbers last year. But you know, our Pro 1 ATV class is still going strong. We had a pretty close race for points last year. Joe Hibden ended up winning the points. He won it by 2 points over Ava Windsor. And third place in points was just 6 points behind first. And fourth place in points was just 10 points behind first. So
tight race.
It was very tight indeed. And looking for
not
more
as close
racing.
as your Pro 2 ATV though. One single point.
I know.
Separated first and second. Michael Dunleavy taking the championship over Craig McNeil.
Yes, Dunleavy getting it done. Craig McNeil, always a competitor in just in any class Craig races in. And I'm just going to say this just so everybody knows. Craig did not race in the first race of the season last year due to his father passing away. He went to his funeral. If Craig would have raced in that first race, he probably would have won Pro 1 and Pro 2. That would have been, in all honesty. But that person who finished 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in Pro 2 ATV points is looking to avenge himself. That is me. I finished 37 points behind first place winner Michael Dunleavy. But you know, I missed some races.
And you're already missing the first race. Come on now.
I am, but you know, I'm gonna make up for it. I'm gonna win all the other ones. I'm gonna cut perfect reaction time. I'm gonna cut perfect reaction time in the finals of each race.
And we know you can do it, and we know that you can power wheelie with that mini bike down the track too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Just don't fall off like Damian.
I look like Joe Hibden doing a wheelie across the finish line.
There you go.
So yeah, Thunder Valley Sanddrags, first points race this coming season is this weekend. So shout out to everybody going out to that race and looking for a good turnout for the cars, looking for a good turnout for the bikes as well. And as always, like to see some kiddos out there. So yeah, Thunder Valley Sanddrags this weekend.
Hey everybody, this week's episode brought to you by Racing in the Dirt. Located in Cleveland, Wisconsin, Racing in the Dirt has been in the off-road parts, equipment, and chassis business for over 30 years now. From full chassis builds, currently at 50 and counting, to wheel adapters, brake kits and components, hub kits and components, steering parts and knuckles, suspension parts, air filters, complete chain drives and parts, also real wheels and even cut tires. Scott Shane and company can get you hooked up with everything your dirt drag, sand, or mud ride needs. New from Racing in the Dirt for 2024, UTV offerings. From full cages to protected bars, with more parts to come, they're stepping into the UTV market with some new stuff. So find them on the web, racinginthedirt.com, or connect with them on Facebook, or give them a call. Area code 920-693-2000. That's area code 920-693-2000. And the UPS Daily, racinginthedirt.com.
We are moving on to news and takes. We don't have a proper name for this segment yet. We'll come up with one, but right now it's called news and takes. And we're going to start with an issue that was brought to our attention by an outside source that will stay undisclosed. We will not name this source. We will call him John Doe for the time being. John Doe presented possible evidence that Greens, or what do you call Mid-Michigan Trail Runners Club?
I think it's Mid-Michigan Trail Runners.
Okay, yep. And then the Greens Raceway. And what's the town in Michigan?
Isn't it Owasso, Isaac?
Middle of nowhere, as far as I remember.
Isaac, what's the name of the town?
Yeah, it's basically Owasso.
Okay, Owasso, Michigan, basically. Yep. Greens Raceway in Michigan, not Virginia.
No. With no E.
No E. The records that were set and currently set there may be in question after the timing system may be flawed in a way, maybe short, maybe just set up wrong. This was brought to us by, once again, undisclosed source, John Doe. We'll call him John Doe. But he's raced he's a seasoned racer. Well, that's all I'll say. And I don't really know who to lead off with this. Let's start with I guess I'll start. The thing that was in question is that the timing system isn't set up properly. You know, I'll start with Sorg because he was actually approached by this person.
Sounds like it's kind of flawed from the description I was trying to get out of it. Like certain parts of it in staging, if you were to go in there, if you're on the inside of a lane, the beams are, tight. And if you go to the outside of the lane, there's, a lot more distance out there. So,
So you could red light in one spot.
Where you go into stage and you're on the inside and you're in stage and all of a sudden the tree drops and it'll just go red. I've just, I've actually heard stuff from a couple people over a couple years ago, but it's been a while.
I thought we were talking about if the track was short or not. I could be completely lost here. I thought we were thinking that potentially the track could not be 300 feet.
That was a legend.
Honestly, who knows?
That's something new. I thought it was the timing system thing.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm out in left field here. So it's the beginning. It's the starting line issue. It's a starting line issue.
Well, I've never been there. Obviously, I'm a Kansas guy.
I don't know.
We have three Michigan
Isaac,
guys on the panel
there?
right now. Yeah, Isaac, John, and Ricky. Has any of y'all been there?
Yeah, I've been there once years ago.
Isaac, you been there?
So we tested there last spring. They have a newer timing system. That's why I'm kind of I know with their old timing system there was some jinky stuff. Like it was like if you would red light, there was no ET would come on. Okay. I am fairly certain, and hopefully somebody's going to add into our comments and stuff on this deal. I'm fairly certain they bought either like a Race America or something like that.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Did
So
they?
I don't know for sure. I wasn't really. I know it was newer than the last time I had been there when we were there last spring. And I can say with Dylan's bike, we ran within a couple hundredths lane to lane.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
I don't know.
What was this John Doe's main concern exactly, John? I kind of lost track of that.
I think to make sure that if something's submitted, that it is legit.
Right. So
they're just saying that there's some quirky things that happen in the timing system that it's worth looking into. They're not saying anybody's illegit. So I don't think they don't want anybody to think that. It's just that certain aspects of that system are worth addressing or looking into to better address any further concerns.
So you could just line up depending on how the lights are set up and run a better number based on where you line up just because how the lights are set up, not necessarily how the track is prepped.
Well, if it's triangular, yes, you are correct.
And then the other concern, the red light aspect. You can line up you can be in the same lane and on one spot and not move in red light. And you can line up on one side and just have a really bad reaction time. If you try to respond. Yeah. Damian.
On that note, with what John and you were just discussing, that's a very common issue in the dirt world with any track you go to, whether it be Cleves, Brookville. When we raced at Liberty, we had a really bad issue with it with the old floodlight system, the beams being crossed. It's very easy for it to happen. One light, say the stage light, can be activating all three on the opposite side of the lane. So you stage on the right side of the lane, it's normal. Stage on the left side of the lane, it's a foot roll out further than what you're used to, and you're that far off the guard beam.
Right.
That's something that I think that maybe we need to kind of address just as an educational thing with how these starting line systems actually function. Because to my understanding, we talk about them as though they're an actual laser beam, but most of these timing systems are not set up like that. They are a cone that reaches out to a photocell on the center of the lane. So you're really, it gives them some wiggle room for alignment. And, to your point, Damian, there's a potential for the pre-stage or stage beam or even the guard beam, if it is misaligned, that it could hit a different sensor. Now, I would think that would mean that it is having those other sensors misaligned as well. But the red light issue, we've seen all kinds of weird stuff with sand vehicles, depending on the heights of the track, depending on if they've got holes in the spokes of their wheels or body panels or parts of the frame rail extending in front of the vehicle. I know there's a really good video from Pavement Drag Racing talking about how quick a red light can actually occur just being on the trans brake and stuff. So there's all sorts of different fluctuations that can happen with the red lighting.
It doesn't help. What?
I'm sorry. I was going to say, now the big thing is the difference between our sand systems. I don't know of any or dirt tracks that run the same system as they do on asphalt. Asphalt has gone to where they only have the pre-stage and stage lights. And the moment your tire leaves the stage light is when it activates now. Whereas we still run the old style guard beam type systems because, like my Jeep, if the front end's not in the air, how long am I going to be in the stage lights for with the roost coming off of my tires? Whereas John's dragster, it rolls out, it's out of the stage light, timer's activated.
Right.
And we
Yeah.
often use guard or
Cool.
stage beam starts as well.
Well, I think the main, I think the main concern in this case was that you could line up on a certain point in the lane and just have a way faster number than what's actually supposed to be accurate. And it doesn't help that the kind of, well, basically the record that basically in question is, you know, the gas buggy record. Yeah, it's like a 10th faster than he did at the next the track that he did.
Yeah.
Previous better at. So it's just the evidence. But then again, the sport buggy guy went faster in Brookville, and Brookville's legit. So
here's
that we know of.
Almost a 10th quicker.
That we know of. Ever since WSDN started, I mean, and ever since these people on the panel have become part of WSDN, I don't think any of us has been out to greens to actually make sure it's legit.
Other than Isaac.
Well, he wasn't even a WSDN member when he did that.
Here's the thing: is the difference between Brookville is not that Brookville is just legit. Is the thing, as far as I know, Brookville is considered one. Like if you have a car, that's where you want to go to try to run a number. Like a lot of guys go there and pick up their ET drastically off of a sand track. Greens is not a fast racetrack; it's a sand track. It's just like any other sand track. It's not somewhere where you're going to go lay your bet. And that's not a knock on the track. That's just actual facts about you're not going to run your best ET on a sand track over a place like Brookville. It's just not going to happen. Why do you think everyone went down and ran the way they did at Sheltons? Why? I mean, I go all the way across the country to Louisiana for one reason, and that's because that's the fastest track in the country. So, like for us bikes, you know, I bet you if cars went to Louisiana, I've been saying it for a couple of years, if cars actually took the risk because no one wants to do anything until something's already done. If people go to Louisiana, those cars will run the best they've ever ran too.
So here's a wrinkle in this whole thing is Mark Mosier Sr. and Mark Mosier Jr. just hauled in quite a bit of material into greens in the past month, probably. Yeah. And they regraded that track out and everything else. I don't know what they brought in, if it's different than what was there to begin with, but that track could be a very different surface than what it was last fall at this point in time.
We don't know. Material in for the track. I know they brought material in for I thought they brought material in for the drive around the place, but I didn't know they put a bunch in the track too.
But
I believe so. I thought that's what I saw.
As far as when that buggy record was broken, I was very eager to figure out if that number was going to be backed up at another racetrack, and I haven't seen it yet. And it stands out to me, and I'm not saying that it's not legit, but I'm saying that it is definitely questionable, because as far as when that record was ran, Isaac, it was the same old surface that they'd had for, years prior. Now, if they hauled a bunch of stuff in, that's a different story, and I could be 100% wrong. But when that was done, that number just.
Right. I will say this
now,
too, though.
Go ahead, Caleb. I was gonna say, go ahead.
One thing that I do want to think about this too, granted we are talking when that record was set, it was on the old surface,
and the old timing system.
Probably was the old timing system, and that has been Scott's fastest pass. That buggy though specifically has been very inconsistent. And we've seen it been kind of all over the place. Some races, it's a 360 car. Some races, it's a 330 car. He's got the record at a 317. He hasn't had the mile an hour that the gas buggy record holder had it back at Silverback, back when it was, I think, Silver Lake Dragway. And it's just been kind of a crazy wild beast. So I think part of we have to consider is that buggy's very inconsistent. The other part too. Sorry, go ahead, Billy.
I was just gonna say he can tune that buggy to run in Because I seen him do it. The time I went, one of the times I went to Michigan, I seen him running 350, 325, I believe the 295 all in one race. And
Yeah,
it was
that's true
just
too.
because he runs nitrous and it's a turbo setup too. So I mean,
yeah.
he could be off the bottle and run 350s,
And
360s.
I was not. That was
throw
not
spray on.
my comments were not a knock on Scott. I really like Scott. He's
Oh,
an
yeah, I
awesome
love
guy.
Scott.
That's a crazy little car. You never know what you're going to get. Like Caleb said, you never really know. And you know, no offense to all the Volkswagen guys, because I love a lot of them. My brother-in-law and Johnny and all of them. But man, you never know what you're going to get with a Volkswagen. Scott could have very well came out there, and that could have been what it needed to be. And he tried something. I mean, it's just they're very. It takes a special person to run a VW.
It does, and that
Right.
motherfucker could have exploded that same pass too, but it didn't.
That's true. And then I'll say
story.
too, I think that a lot of those Volkswagens, a lot of the 4-cylinder cars, they don't necessarily always run quicker on the super heavy dirt or clay-based tracks. We've seen a lot. I mean, the fastest 4-cylinder, granted it is an inline Hemi, that was set at Lake Elsinore, and it does have some dirt in the track, but it does have a lot of sand. And the Rose, when they went to Saboba and set the world on fire for the fastest flat 4 engine vehicle, that's a pretty sandy track as well. So I've always thought that the Volkswagens, just because they don't quite have as much torque as a lot of these V8s, that they do better on a slightly looser surface, not necessarily a pure sand track, but a track with a little bit more sand than just a heavy dirt. So I'm just thinking that there's multiple things that can contribute to that. But I do agree with you, Rick. It's one of those things too where they have definitely not quite gotten to that performance. They, to my knowledge, and Damian, you're probably around them more often than the rest of us. I don't think that I've even seen them really get into the low 20s recently. They've been kind of stuck at the high 20s and 30s marks.
Right. It's one of those things that's hard telling. Again, like you said, with the Volkswagen guys, them cars are wheel speed. It's the main thing with a Volkswagen because they don't have the torque, so they got to get the wheel speed up early, and then they really start scooting in that. So it could be that was just the right day. That could all sorts of different things because I was just looking at all the qualifying orders I could find in the Outlaw Sanddrag series for their King of the Outlaws classes. And most of them, he's running low 30s, high 20s. Or a D and Q because he didn't make a pass or something happened on the run.
I believe I've seen him run a 25 before somewhere.
You're right. He has run a 25.
I definitely seen him run a 25.
27, 25.
A 14's not out of the realm of possibility for that car.
17.
Or 17. It's just one of those deals of it had to be the perfect pass that day.
Well, I got two things to add to this and we can move on. One, I'm not trying to knock Green's track. I've never even been there. This is just an issue that was brought to us and we are going to look into it. John is going to go there and figure out this thing sometime.
With Isaac.
Or Isaac. You know, but
with
they'll both
Isaac.
They'll go there at the same time. Maybe Ricky.
Who
knows?
Throw both them cars in the same trailer.
We're gonna get an investigation.
There you go. Investigation racecation. There you go. There
you go.
And Ricky, are you bringing the mini bikes there?
Hey, listen, tell your buddy Billy if he's ready, he can go anywhere.
Yeah, we'll go to Florida. No, I'm kidding. But one more thing I wanted to say is that I'm not trying to knock a track just because one car ran a faster number than usual from a different track. We just seen 7 of them do it at Sheltons. But the only reason I never been to Greens, I never measured it like I do at these other ones, so I don't know if it's legit. Literally every track I've been to, I measure it just for safekeeping. Every single one. I told Caleb I measured Saboba, and he was like, when did you ever find time to do that?
Yeah.
And I was like, I sneaked it in. But yeah, no, I never been to Greens. I never took the time to self-measure it. So, but John and Isaac are going to do some investigating and racing. So
I got a question before we wrap this part of this segment up.
Sure.
What if you found a track was too long?
And kudos.
I mean, Liberty used to be 315 feet. So when Mike Lane set the record up here for the 4-wheel drives.
I only say that because I'm pretty sure there is a mile per hour record out there out of the state of California that, if I remember correctly, when we measured the track, it was 2.5 foot longer than the 300.
I didn't think about that. The mile per
Ooh.
hour
We're thinking
aspect.
ET wise. ET's not going to help it. Yeah, mile an hour it might.
Mile an
Way to
hour.
open up that can of worms, Isaac.
Oh God. All right, now
Just
we gotta
for
measure
opening
it.
the can of
Now we gotta
worms.
measure
You're open
each
can of
track
worms
every
here.
year. We gotta measure each track every year now. God damn it, Isaac. But no, yes, but no, we're gonna look into this, and if the track's too short, then we'll address it. But I think the main concern is just the timing lights and stuff like that. But we'll see how that goes whenever they find a chance to equally go up there and get that done. Moving on to the second topic of our news and takes, something that kind of took the world by storm. This was posted last night on ATV Drag Racer Group by Patrick Hunt, who Ricky knows very, very well. And I'm glad Ricky is here for this. I'm glad Caleb's here for this. Some no bar ATV action, and if you guys have no bar ATV action is some of the best shit you'll ever see, some of the best racing you'll ever see. And I love it. And this dude, Patrick Hunt, just built a 100-inch freaking swing arm.
Is that thing really 100 inches? Is it actually 100
It's as tall as the dude that built it. Here's the picture.
I'm
Look
just
at that.
curious. Like, I don't know.
Dude,
I don't know how. I'm not telling you.
196 inches is 8 foot. I don't know that cat, but he's not 9 foot tall.
Thank you, Isaac. I had the same concern.
So
It'd
why
be
we
like two
measure.
Johnnies.
That's why we measure.
Brad at Tyson Racing built that, and me and Bryson were just over there a couple weeks ago, and we actually seen that. And I do know that I stand 6 feet tall, and it's just about as tall as me. It's not quite 100-inch swing arm, but it's by far the longest one I've ever seen. And I will tell you this: Pat was my arch nemesis in 425 class back years ago. And one thing I know about Pat is he is an innovator and he does things for purpose. He doesn't care about looks. He's not trying to be fancy. So he has an objective in mind, big horsepower, and trying to get that baby to bite. And it's people will laugh about it now, and it seems crazy now, but you never know. I also used to say I'll never take my seat off, never take my hood off, never use titanium, and here we are.
Well, dude, I love the innovation, and freaking that thing's gonna be badass.
One thing, someone commented on that post, and it's I feel the same way, and it's I learned a long time ago not to doubt my old buddy Pat. He's got a plan, so we'll see if it works out. It'll definitely see. I'll tell you what, these no bars are just as long as those rigids back in the day, Caleb. Now you can only fit about 3 no bars in a trailer nowadays.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, hey, Ricky, I regardless of how long this particular swing arm is, and it's definitely the longest I've ever seen. What has been the longest swing arm that we know of in the sport? I know that there's several like that are high 30s. I think there's a couple I've heard 42. I don't know what the longest is prior to this, but this definitely blows that out of the water.
It depends on if you're talking like a rigid chassis that's is the
true.
As far as I know, I've never heard of anything into the 40s until now, or into the even maybe a couple in the 30s, but usually, I mean, back, Johnny, he doesn't like to admit it, but back in his day, he used to be a little bit of an ATV guy. I always bring this up and pick on him because I have to. But back in his day, they were running like +6s. Well, nowadays, a +24 is like the average. My no bar bike has a 24 on it. My 650 track bike has a 25 on it. It's just times have changed, and people just love a long swing arm, Caleb. I don't know how else to put it. It's the whole sport has shifted to 22, 24, 26, and the no bar bikes are 22, 20, look at those pro stock or I think they're called Outlaw Pro Street, the motorcycles that run no wheelie bar, but they have literally no swing arm maximum, and those got to be like 40s or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Dude,
They're
them
running,
things look like 4-seaters.
yeah, they're 20, 200 plus mile per hour, no wheelie bar, and still wheeling. It's incredible, and I thought I was overdoing it at 24, but I'm in the short end of the no bar category like usual.
Never heard that before, have you?
Yeah, that's what I said, like usual, Johnny.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I
that
think
thing's
there's
gonna
going
be
to be
awesome.
it's going to be interesting to see it set up. I think, man, he's going to be having to buy chain straight from the roll at this point with how long that's going to be.
Dude, I
Uh,
got,
Easy.
I got something to say.
Yep.
Gilbert's gonna be lit.
Yeah, well,
And you can believe
get
that,
Pat to
that
bring
you
you
can
out
believe
there.
that, Bill. Oh, he'll be there. That
will
bike
be.
will
Caleb, are
be
you
there.
going
100%.
this year?
Who?
Probably. Well, I'm not going to say no entirely.
Small
I'm not
chance.
going to be out there to race, but maybe I can get out there for the weekend. Vacation time's pretty limited this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, it's like you
After the
just got
honeymoon.
married or something.
Yeah, you're going to be having fun with that predicament pretty soon here too, Billy.
I know. I'm gonna have that problem next year as well. But yeah.
I want to see two
can't-
chain tensioners on there.
I mean, Caleb, I have no idea how
Hey.
that even, that's going to be, I can't wait to see it. So
It's gonna
there
be
could be
interesting.
two tensioners. I would recommend, it's one of those things where I can't wait to see it.
I
That'd
have
be
to I have to bring this up just because I thought it was funny. I saw this comment on there that dude, I love what Patrick Hunt's doing, by the way. That thing is awesome. I seen this comment and it said, when the chain on that one snap, it's literally gonna be a metal bullwhip to the back. And this guy replied to this other guy's comment and said, it'll hit the guy in the other lane. and this other guy replied back and he said, might smack the drink out of the concession lady's hand.
Oh, man. Oh,
dear.
that's awesome.
Oh man. But no, dude, this thing's awesome. I can't wait to see it. I hope this thing will be at Gilbert. I know he'll be there, but I hope this thing, whatever monstrosity he's building. What do you know what he's putting in it? What is he putting in it, Rick?
Okay, so I didn't ask. Pat's kind of a secretive guy sometimes, but I will tell you this: I do believe it's going on a big twin, no bar. Obviously a big twin no bar bike, and I know that they are not going there to try to not run some ridiculous numbers. Like I said, Pat is always shooting. His goals are always real high. And he usually succeeds with enough time. So they got a whole fleet from down there in North Carolina that they'll be bringing out to Gilbert, I'm sure. Full titanium wheelie bar bikes and 100-foot long no bar bikes and knobby bikes. And his daughter, actually, they're going to be running the weight class this year. So Pat wants to mix it up with the weight class. He wants to run no bar in the weight class with his daughter, and I know that they got a new setup they're going to be working with. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for old Patrick Hunt. They thought my boy was taking a break after he lost his 425 record to Sean Reeves, but he's just been in the lab, I promise.
Dude, I can't wait to see what he's got cooking up. He's gonna take the 425 record with a no bar bike. It's gonna be nuts. That'd be crazy.
I won't say no.
That'd be insane.
Hey, how long till we see a wheelbase limit on no bar?
Never. I don't want.
Well, see, Isaac, the thing with that is there's a no bar class that has a swing arm limit. It's the full plastic class, which is basically like the full body no bar class. Basically, there's a limitation. We're talking outlaw no bar, Isaac. So the only thing about no bar, outlaw no bar bikes is outlaw is outlaw. There's one rule, and that's it doesn't have wheelie bar. So
yeah, we need.
No, wait a minute. What?
After last week's episode, we're not so sure of that, right?
We
Isaac?
need
That's
some
right.
125-inch wheelbase no more bikes. That's what we need.
God
But
damn,
yeah,
that's harder than my deed. By a lot.
All right. Well, yeah. There you go.
Hey everybody, this week's episode brought to you by Racing in the Dirt. Located in Cleveland, Wisconsin, Racing in the Dirt has been in the off-road parts, equipment, and chassis business for over 30 years now. From full chassis builds, currently at 50 and counting, to wheel adapters, brake kits and components, hub kits and components, steering parts and knuckles, suspension parts, air filters, complete chain drives and parts, also real wheels and even cut tires, Scott, Shane, and company can get you hooked up with everything your dirt drag, sand, or mud ride needs. New from Racing in the Dirt for 2024, UTV offerings. From full cages to protected bars, with more parts to come, they're stepping into the UTV market with some new stuff. So find them on the web, racinginthedirt.com, or connect with them on Facebook, or give them a call. Area code 920-693-2000. That's area code 920-693-2000. And the UPS Daily, racinginthedirt.com.